I gotta go like, this is Dalen, and then you go, and this is Doombucks, like your vids.
I just realized that we, as a production duo, we are D&D.
Oh shit, like Game of Thrones.
We're the real. We are the D&D.
Yeah, we got the best endings.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, screw it. This will be the intro. This conversation will be the intro.
Perfect.
So 4 years ago, we made The Spirit Killer 2, an amazing video that everyone watched. But most people don't know it was actually a sequel to another video we made about 10 years ago or something now. The original was based on the Soul Slayer, which was a 3-part machinima series made by Queen Kiriara and company. Wonderful people.
Wonderful people, wonderful
Close
piece
friends.
of artwork. Best Skill Wars 1 video.
I recommend everyone see the Soul Slayer so that they can then watch the Spirit Killer. Now, the Soul Slayer was only in 3 parts, unfortunately. So we only did 3 parts of Spirit Killer. But then one guy commented, "Where's part 4?" And I was like, this was, let's look how many years ago it was. Spirit Killer Part 1.
And for anyone who hasn't seen Spirit Killer Part 1, it is best enjoyed if you watch all of the Soul Slayer original videos and then our parody of it immediately after, because Dalen did a great job of doing shot-for-shot, direct, like, perfect parodies of everything, and it is a masterpiece. So that's why it's so awesome that we were able to continue the legacy on into Guild Wars 2.
It legit was. Okay, yeah. So 10 years ago, we made The Spirit Killer on August 18th.
Wow, that's so
And then
perfect.
4 years ago, we made The Spirit Killer 2. Now, the reason it happened was, again, so Spirit Killer was only in 3 parts, because there's only 3 parts of Soul Slayer. But then one guy commented, "Where's part 4?" And the 10 years younger version of me was like, wouldn't it be funny if we did a part 4? Even though there isn't a part 4 to base it on.
So did that guy think that it was that like Spirit Killer was like an original?
I think he must have thought it was an original like serious piece. But
that's amazing.
Whatever. So we made part 4 and it was funny. I don't know. It concluded the story.
Well, that's what makes it so great. Is like it started off as just like a direct parody of these other people, and then it just like evolved into its own thing.
Yeah, and then how many years after that? I think part 4 was like quite a short while after.
Yeah, it was like in the same era.
So yeah, part 4 was a year after that.
I like how we even did a shot of me like saying, "Oh, part 3 is finally here," because they took like 2 years to make the actual part 3.
I forgot. We'll do a Spirit Killer 1 commentary at some
save
point.
That for
there is so many stories about that. But whatever. If you want to see it, go see it. You don't have to. Because that was the beauty of Spirit Killer 2. Because, years go by. 6 years go by. And we decide, wouldn't it be funny if... Because I think, the anniversary of Spirit Killer was coming up. And we have, like, a tradition where we watch it, like, once a year, basically.
Yeah.
We watch and the anniversary... This time, when we were watching it, the anniversary was coming up. So we were like, wouldn't it be funny if we did Spirit Killer 2? And it was like completely continued the story technically, but it was essentially like a reboot of the series. And then that is what started as a joke became a 2-week let's do this kind of power through basically.
Well, we started off wanting to keep true to the roots of like parodying stuff, so that's why we have those like Guild Wars 2 video stuff.
It was sort of a combination of ideas because Doom had an idea for a while to parody content creators basically, but he wasn't sure how to put it in a video because he doesn't really make those kind of videos, and I didn't have an idea either at the time. But then we jokingly said, "Hey, let's do Spirit Killer 2," and then it was like, oh, this is perfect.
Yeah, we just kept bouncing ideas off of each other and like coming up with like perfect ways to splice everything together. It was it was great.
And so it started as like the root of the joke, as the video, not the video, but the root of the joke was challenging group content, because they kept saying that phrase. This was before Heart of Thorns was announced, by the way, so it's kind of fitting that we're doing this video before they're about to do some other big announcement.
Yeah, like this was a time in the game where like everyone was like bored of dungeons and was craving something new, and the only thing that was ever uttered was like challenger group content, and like there was just nothing from ANET.
It was just like a buzzword, like fractal dungeons.
Yeah, fractal dungeons.
But so they kept saying challenging group content, but no one knew what it meant. Everyone assumed it was raids, but no one knew at the time, because this was before Heart of Thorns.
And there were so many pessimistic people that were like, ANET's just going to release some like lame world boss, and that's what they're going to call group content, which, funny enough, that's kind of what they're doing now, but that's for another story.
Less said about that, the better. Yeah. So, I mean, that's the backstory, I guess. I think we've explained it quite well. I guess we'll explain more as we go through the video. We'll pause it at different points and say more.
Yeah, this is like when you fire up the DVD commentary.
Yeah, but the DVD stops and explains it to you instead of flowing and all sorts. Let's press the button. They say comedy is judged by the first joke you make, and this first joke to me was quite funny, I guess, because I actually took the time to like try and make it slightly good. This first bit, I found like the perfect piece of music. I had all the perfect shots, and I bothered to try and find all the different parts of the game that were like reflected in Guild Wars 1 and in Guild Wars 2, essentially, to show the passage of time between Spirit Killer 1 and Spirit Killer 2, but also Guild Wars 1 and Guild Wars 2. It was fun, I guess, to put together. But this part with the sword was a bit of a pain in the ass, but whatever.
Yeah, well, it's hard to find a direct replica of the Celestial Sword.
Yeah, so we just found some, like, corrupted ice sword or whatever.
Something.
But then it all culminates soon.
It's great to watch this from the perspective of somebody thinking it's going to be, like, a serious
machinima. That's
like, knowing what's like coming.
A masterpiece.
And this is quite beautiful. It's quite well done.
Yeah, I appreciate that they did carry over parts of Guild Wars 1 to Guild Wars 2. They just didn't do enough, in my opinion. So, the intro, I don't actually know what anyone thinks of it who doesn't know Spirit Killer 1.
But yeah, I'm surprised people didn't shut it off immediately.
Yeah, I think a lot of people did. If you look at if you look at the analytics, it drops like hard after this point.
So should we explain why this is like this?
We'll let it play out first. See how Titus is there. I'm gonna scroll back through it, and
that is a deep pull.
Talk about it.
So for those who don't know, that was my voice. That
was Doom's masterful performance. Performed for a second time. So in Spirit Killer 1, they had an intro that was
in Soul Slayer.
Cover. Yeah, the Soul Slayer. It had an intro sequence that was like a hard rock cover of the Kate Bush song "Running Up That Hill."
Yeah, and it was like really like kind of cheesy and just like 2 FPS, by the way, which made it even funnier. It was like really low.
Well, to be fair, that was like a long time ago, so screen capture software was not the best. But yeah, it was like, to me, it was just like a funny, like over dramatic intro, and I was like, what would make this funny? Again, 10 years ago, keep in mind, and to me, it was to do the same thing, but like have the lyrics or the vocalization be horrifically like high pitched and all over the place and bad, basically. So that's the Spirit Killer 1 version was like that, and when we were making Spirit Killer 2, it was like, well, you got to do it again. So redid the performance of the first.
I added some reverb, like warbling to my voice.
Yeah, like
stuff,
manual reverb.
Twang.
None of that is like
but
auto-tuned or whatever.
But in the first one, like I had to do that take like so many times because I was either like laughing or just like couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So me coughing in the first one is like a real cough.
In the first one at the end, Doom like coughs at the end, and that was a genuine cough that I just like left in. But then for the second one, we kind of
I like over dramatized it. You know, I brought it back, but made it like better. But yeah, the first time I did it, I was like living at home. My parents were there. I was like, just ignore what I'm doing in my room for a second. Like I just had to do that.
Yeah. And I feel a bit bad about this intro because in the first one, I think we came up with like all original shots for the intro, but I had to like reuse some shots from some other videos, but no one watched them
but
anyway,
it's fine.
So who cares?
It looks good.
And yeah, we should talk about the character names.
And King's Contest.
I have to. Oh yeah, all the names were.
That's all direct references to Soul Slayer. So
I'm turning this
again. Go back and watch Soul Slayer. I mean Spirit Killer.
Yeah. Both. And this shot of Jormag still in the game. You can go there right now and watch Jormag clip through the terrain. I don't know why I haven't fixed that. You have to, and that snake, you can't see those snakes anymore.
Snakes.
They deleted them too high FPS, not FPS, too high maintenance or whatever. So yeah, the names: Arsmad Wiener Smasher. Wasn't there a guy we knew who was called that?
His name was like Arsmad, like something Smasher. We just called him Arsmad Wiener Smasher, just like because we laughed at those kind of jokes. We still do. I mean, I do.
Yeah, this was Gil was one thing. So this again is going back 10 years. This Arsmad guy. It's still funny, I guess. Though, so.
But fun fact: that character, in-game character, is just named Dog Yara as a reference to the original.
It's very cool. Again, I bet 90% of the audience is not going to get any of these references, but
it's amazing. I love every second of it. So,
so yeah, Basuto Tamagotchi. I think I just came up with.
We always called
Tamagotchi
Shiro Tamagotchi.
Oh yeah,
so
that's where it comes from. Yeah. So yeah, Shiro Tamagotchi. I think Basuto was just a Japanese name I found. She's not even Japanese, the character, but whatever. Phoenix Hamburger. The less said, the better.
Yep.
Yeah, Tidus wasn't in it. This was a callback to like in Soul Slayer. Tidus was always in the intro.
It was like never.
But he was like never in the show. There was a prequel they did that he was in, but I think they deleted it.
Yeah, but
I was just looking at the playlist.
It was presented was like it was going to be this like major integral character that just never showed up. So
yeah, I'm gonna look this up right now.
So we just played to that.
I swear, yeah, I looked at the playlist or whatever, and he's not in it. Maybe he is. We'll never know.
Well, they never made episode 4, so we'll never find out.
We'll never know how it ends. Well, I mean, we ended it for.
Maybe they're still working on it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's coming out soon, guys. Right. On we go. Tidus, not in it. Janye Ginkians?
I mean, it's
nobody
backwards.
Yeah, so yeah, the name Janye, Joe Mama, who does the voice of Phoenix and Janye, his character was called Stealthy Jane, but everyone misread it as Janye for a while, so that's how it stuck. And Ginkians, no one got the joke. It was sneaking backwards because they're a thief. That was it. That's fine. Charlie and Hugsluff, that was just a funny name. But yeah, let's carry on.
What's that? Ooh, is that a new skin?
Where'd you get it?
I don't even know how we commentate over this.
We quoted that so much though. Is that new skin?
Oh yeah, is that new skin? So yeah. Oh my god. Okay, some of these jokes have not aged very well. These were hot off the presses commentary jokes at the time of their conception, but now I think some of them are kind of like dated.
Well, yeah. Well, each of the characters had like a thing about them. Like we had the elitist, we had the nice Char that looks fierce. We had Phoenix Hamburger, who I mean speaks for himself.
Yeah. So, the kind of the joke in in the first one was that we didn't really have any female voice actors. So we had... I'm just going to pause this. Hold on. Why are we playing it out again? Anyway, so in the first one, we didn't have any female voice actors. So we had a female character in the character's mother. So we were like, whatever. Why don't we just go the other extreme and have it be like really super deep voice and the character look really manly, even though they're like, oh, these jokes are not going to fly. Well, this part of the commentary might have to be cut out. But when it came to the sequel, we basically roped in anyone who we had to do voices. But I thought it would be funny to have Silvermoon voice. I mean, his character, the character of Basuta, was supposed to be the elitist character, but like human female meta is like the joke as well. So it had to be a human female be the elitist character, but voiced by a dude. There's the joke.
Yeah. And there's some other good jokes sprinkled in that dialogue too, about like, I did the precursor to Frenzy to make Frenzy and Hall of the Wilds.
Hall of the Wilds. Yeah, so I can't remember who did it, but someone misremembered Honor of the Waves as Hall of the Wilds. And it's not just like an inside joke between us.
That's another just guild inside joke that we put out.
Like nobody's gonna. I don't think anyone even picked up on that at all. They assume like Hall of the Wilds is like, oh, it's just an instance, right? There's nowhere in the game called Hall of the Wild.
But it's also like nothing like Honor of the Waves.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like nothing to do with it. Hall of the Wilds implies like jungle and stuff, but it's like ice and stuff. Like Honor of the Waves.
Yeah.
But and Rin, our good friend Rin, voices the Char. For me, that was just like, wouldn't it be funny if there was this big scary Char, but they sound like a nice girl.
Also, Griff, the guy who voices Wiener
Griff.
Smasher, did such a good job.
Yeah, Griff is a legendary voice actor who I'm ashamed that I haven't used in other videos. I haven't really made Machinima since, so there you go.
Screw you guys.
Yeah, he was an amazing
PvP World Bank, here we go.
Yeah, PvP World Bank. There's always, at the time, still maybe today, you can run into any town and you'll find people spamming PvP World Bank, good deals. The Chinese gold farmers, basically. So we had to slip one of those in.
At last, after 250 years, we're free.
What the? Who are you?
That's Soul.
Soul Calibur, yeah. So Alistair comes back, reprises his role from the first series to play all the gods again. I can't remember why that was. I think we just ran. It didn't have many people, so Alistair ended up voicing like half the cast in the first one. But,
yeah, and then if you watch the credits, it's just like Alistair.
Yeah, but this time we had a few people around, so it wasn't that big a deal.
Should we talk about like actually assembling those god outfits?
Oh yeah! Oh my god!
In Guild Wars 1, it was easy.
It was kind of fun. But yeah, in Guild Wars 1 it was easy because the dervishes had they're just god forms or whatever.
Yeah.
And you could just use those. The only issue with that was keeping them up. So people would come out of god form and it would ruin the song.
We even put a joke of that in there too.
Yeah,
like, it's even in this one. We have.
Yeah. Oh yeah, both of them have it. I forgot. But for this time, and when this came out, there wasn't like a Lissa costume. There wasn't. I don't think there is even a Cormier costume now in Guild Wars 2. And I don't know if... Yeah, there's no Melandra costume in Guild Wars 2 either. So we just had to kind of like cobble them together. I mean, we had the Dwayne and Balthazar ones, yes. And we had the Grenth hood. But the rest of that outfit was like, someone had to make it up. I don't remember who made it up.
I had to just buy that Dwayne, I think, just for this, and that's the only time
we
ever
bought
used it.
700 gems we're never going to see again.
Yeah.
But for the Melandru, the Melandru form, we just used the human like racial, which is allegedly in a Melandru form anyway, so whatever, it works. For Dwayne, I had some fun with Dwayne, but it turned out to be a curse. For Dwayne, I wanted to... Not Dwayne. For Lissa, we had a bit of fun, but it turned out to be a pain in the ass. So if you look closely at Lissa's face, their mask changes with every shot, or theoretically should change with every shot. So we had to film it like in chronological order, sort of, to have the face change correctly. But for so much effort it took to do that, it was not worth it. Not a single person probably spotted it. So, whatever. It's the price you pay.
But they're gonna see it now.
But yeah, hopefully people see it now. And no one can understand what this guy says. That's kind of the point. But he does say, I now Japanese to English anime dub you. This is Spirit Killer or whatever.
Dude, weebs will love that.
Weebs will love that now. Also, filming... I could talk all day about how filming Yours 2 is like a pain in the ass, but the time changes like completely. I mean, again, we tried to film it in chronological order, so it kind of works, but the lighting changes like every other shot, and day and night cycles, and the amount of people who were doing this silly jumping puzzle. Everyone's favorite character, Cormir, comes. So we contacted the Plague of Gripes guy who made that infamous Cormir vid. He never replied. So I can only assume he was busy with Hollywood producers or whatever. Too busy for a little old us.
But Alistair did a good job.
Yeah, I think Alistair did a good job.
Also, Silvermoon did a good job designing that character too.
Silvermoon, made the outfit. Again, this was years before Path of Fire was even like glinting in its eye.
But there you go. The dervish. He's wearing the dervish outfit too.
Oh yeah, the dervish outfit. I think they just had that. It was good. It was good.
Guys, I have great news.
What is it?
The gods, they're back.
Great clipping of the shoulder pad in his face there.
There's no such thing as gods. They're just part of the eternal alchemy.
Phoenix, please.
Oh yeah, for this, in the editing suite, I guess, I put in this as like a temporary thing. And then after like 2 weeks of editing and filming and all this other stuff, I was like, I can't be bothered, and literally just left it in. I couldn't be bothered to fill it up with like visuals of the flashback or whatever.
Why does everything have to be a challenge? Shouldn't everyone just be a winner?
Shut up, Phoenix.
Isuto, please. Let Phoenix be.
Don't worry, Phoenix. We'll all share in the glory.
If this is a new challenge, how will we do it? We don't have a guide.
Well,
boy.
first we have to solve the riddle.
So yeah, here comes the big, the centerpiece of the whole.
I thought you came from the Grove.
Yeah, I mean, we came up with the
Again,
parodies
topical
first
things.
and then created everything
But yeah,
else
it
around
was essentially
right?
like the sort of joke for us was how players consume content is like so different to what we think it's going to be. Like we think like, oh, you're going to play when new content comes out, it's like, I'm going to play this content, I'm going to figure it out, I'm going to grind for hours, and then I'll be able to do the content, and then I will succeed at the content and get the rewards I want. But now people don't do that, basically. As much as they think they want to do that, or maybe not everyone, but most players don't do that. They just go to guides or walkthroughs or stuff about the optimal solution to the gameplay, and it's almost like, in my opinion, like they're not even playing the game. They're basically playing what other people have told them to play. Like they don't think about it themselves. But again, that's a bigger topic for another day.
Yeah.
But that was the idea behind, and the joke, I guess, behind. As soon as, half the video is them looking up guides of how to play the game, as opposed to playing the game, which unfortunately is how people play. So that's why the joke struck so close to home.
This shot was a pain to get too, wasn't it?
Yeah, this shot was pain because loads of people in cities and stuff.
So, okay, this is a deep. So we put a lot of effort even just into the little things. So obviously this is a parody of Nike in Death and Taxes. Let's pause it there for a second. So if you watch any of Nike's videos, obviously the D&T logo is like the Chipotle logo with Death and Taxes. So we took the Taco Bell logo, which is like another Mexican restaurant, and Life and Loans instead of Death and Taxes, and obviously Adidas instead of Nike. Pretty easy to figure out, but I'm proud of that.
It was funny.
Yeah. So and then later on when the actual build comes up, there's another funny joke, but we'll talk about that when it happens.
I only found out recently that Nike is in fact like a girl's name. I thought he just really liked Nike shoes. But
Well, it's Nike 4. I think his name is Nike 4. Like as
yeah,
as a
I
team.
thought the name Nike was like because he liked the shoes as opposed to it actually being a name. But
yeah, but
there you
but
go.
either way, it is a shoe brand, and Adidas is a shoe brand. So there you go.
So yeah, that's where the joke comes from.
And this was also back when like D&T was like the go-to for every build ever. Like I know Snow Crows and stuff took over, but this is when you would go watch a Nike video for a build. And then also there was D
Great
Keys.
insight. Yeah, D Keys. I don't know what happened to her. Cut that out. I don't know if she still makes videos, but
yeah,
she was making them at the time,
and
so we
she
chose.
responded. She commented on the video.
I think she liked the parody, maybe. Oh yeah, there we go.
And then there's Argentina, which everyone can figure that one out. And Brazil had the Brazzers logo as his thing, so obviously I made my own rendition of Argentina that you can probably figure out.
From a rival company.
Yes.
So everyone's favorite here is Wooden Potatoes.
Mahogany Spuds.
Mahogany Spuds. I don't know who did the voice, but they fucked up the accent.
Yeah.
They're trying to do a Cockney accent and ended up sounding Australian. Well, wow. He was fired, let's say. He's not coming back for Spirit Killer 3.
Could you please?
This is probably the most offensive parody.
This is probably the cheekiest parody. So for all the other parodies, we kind of...
It'd be like so amazing.
All right, guys.
Like it wasn't meant to be
They're
like
obviously-
mean.
Yeah, none of it was meant to be mean-spirited. It was all in good fun. For the Nike one, it was like, wouldn't it be funny if Nike did a build guide, but it was like the worst build ever. And then talk about how ironically it came.
Okay, so
good
in
build.
the Adidas parody, like we intentionally made like the worst build imaginable, and one of the traits was powerful synergy, which at the time was like you gain a double combo aura when you like leap or something. It's like, why would anyone ever equip this trait? But then when Heart of Thorns came out and like Condi Berserker became good, like that trait was actually meta in the end, which there's a whole thing about Dalen predicting the future and like all his videos somehow magically, but that was like another sign of just
there's some other predictions in this that like we can get into in a bit.
Yeah,
but then for D Keys, I watched like one of her videos and I was like, she sounds kind of like a robot.
Well, yeah, everybody kind of like said that she sounded like a robot. I mean,
okay,
but again, it's not meant to be like mean. It's just highlighting.
Yeah, it was just an
funny,
observation
like,
for me.
yeah.
But I was like, wouldn't it be funny if she was actually a robot and we did the TTS voice?
Yeah, and she
or
also had
text-to-speech.
like really complicated like step-by-step rotations.
Oh yeah, and she would read you through the rotation, which is helpful if you're trying to learn the rotation. But at the same time, once she's like listing off like do this, do this, do this, do this, you kind of get like a bit confused about it. And I was like, wouldn't it be funny if
it was just like an obscene rotation?
what if it was an obscenely long rotation that went on and like didn't, the explanation of a rotation blocks the screen, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and Ellie's always had dumb combos where you like pick up the conjures and stuff.
Yeah,
and, like,
pick up and then drop it and get some buff.
So Brazil, when he would make build guides, he would always talk about his like armor and dyes before he would get into the build. So that's kind of what we parodied here.
Yeah, again, a timely reference. Again, this was
I mean,
new
back
when
in
we
the day, like
referenced
Triggered and like Snowflake memes were like hot off the press.
These were like hot off the presses, like cutting edge stuff. So yeah, this prediction, I can't remember how I think I just came up with some nonsense and then
but
like
this entire like conspiracy thing is so good. Like,
yeah, this entire conspiracy thing.
One long scene is great.
Yeah, it sort of, I don't want to say I predicted it, but I kind of predicted it because a lot of the stuff it talks about sort of came true. Like it mentions the Shatterer, and he came like back in like Living World or whatever. And then it mentions like Gargoyles and the Forgotten. And again, this was 4 years ago, before Heart of Thorns, before Path of Fire. The Gargoyles technically came back in the form of like, there was some gargoyle mob in Path of Fire called Gargoyle. But it wasn't like the Gargoyles from Guild 1, so that doesn't count. But the Forgotten did come back. That's true. And they might be branded, but they still came back in Path of Fire. So predicted everything. Kind of confirmed.
And now on to the
Here it is.
trait. Powerful synergy right here. This is the bread and butter of the build.
Is it still in the game or did they remove
I
it?
think it's still there.
It activates twice. This is an extremely powerful trait. It's going to make this build shine.
Well, yeah, and Nike would always say things like bread and butter. Like he has a very like verbose vocabulary and stuff. Like he says like really interesting sayings all the time. So I like put that in there. Like bread and butter. It's gonna make this build shine.
Swap to water, magic, and
But yeah, powerful synergy was used for the fire aura on Condi, and it's actually good now.
Let's go more in depth with a word-by-word analysis.
Oh yeah, so this whole bit about like the theorizing, the joke with Mahogany Spuds was that one, Wooden Potatoes is really long videos. You see a timestamp joke in a bit, but two, he kind of often goes on like what, at least in the past, he might not now. He goes on like sort of crackpot theories, in my opinion, where he'll like extrapolate one tiny little thing into like, oh, this must mean this, and it's like, no,
Challenge missions are back.
just this. Yeah.
But I mean, Wooden Potatoes himself commented on this and said he liked it, so there was no like ill will.
So to get that shot, I looked up like the longest. And
Also, there was one joke about where it's like on the screen you'll see a list. There, like Wooden Potatoes is notorious for saying he'll put something on the screen that's just not there. Like,
yeah,
so
there's a little dig there, I guess. But to get that shot, I looked up the longest video on YouTube at the time. There might be a long one. Maybe it's no longer the longest. And yeah, for this Cantha Confirmed bit, our good friend Kenji, who voices
Gold Farmer,
Borealis, Plummy, and the Gold Farmer in this video, he made a long time ago. He made a Photoshop for like a Guild Wars 2 Cantha expansion, because this was again way before Heart of Thorns was even like, oh, we're going to do an expansion. They never even mentioned expansions for like a while.
I think at this point, Heart of Thorns was like teased, but not. Like,
it was like we might be doing
revealed.
something soon, kind of thing, but it wasn't revealed. Other than like challenge and group content, which was like the basis of the whole video. But Kenji made this Photoshop a long time ago, because again, when we were like speculating, like, oh, what are they going to do? Are they going to mimic Guild Wars 1 and have a Cantha expansion, and then a Elona expansion, and then a other stuff expansion? They didn't do the first, but they did a Elona expansion as expansion number 2. So we might have missed that Cantha the boat might have sailed already. So we'll see.
Rip.
Then skill 4, then skill 5, swap to air magic and press skill 1, then skill 2, then skill 3.
Put a lot of thought into this outfit, and of course, I went with the rose ice dyes because I think pink is absolutely a color.
The trigger noise.
I can't remember how I found. I think I found like just an ascending note. I couldn't like rip off H3 that much because the audio would have like.
My Brazil voice kind of dropped off halfway through that parody for some reason. It was just sounded like me. Whatever. It's fine.
Oh well.
Skill 1, then skill 2.
It's been days and there's nothing even hinting at what the answer could be.
Well, what about?
So I like this parody a lot.
I do
don't
too.
know if anyone else cares, but the screens and the music do it for me.
Yeah,
like,
I
way
actually
too much.
opened up the raw file for the theme music and made it sound like that. Like and yeah, it's like just even
so
parodied
good.
myself. Just horrible drawings, even worse.
Yeah. I mean, it's not much of a parody, really, but it's still fun.
Hey, yeah.
Years ago, while the Forgotten Foe has gotta be a Forgotten. You know, those snake guys from back in the day. Remember? You know what I'm talking about. Guess not. Well,
So yeah, I should note this whole video hinged on a thing that was not true in the end. The snake you saw in the intro was supposed to be the big villain at the end.
Oh yeah,
but I found out they removed them while we were making them, and I was like, "Oh shit, what are we gonna do?" And then we found a way to fix it. But yeah, this Borealis function we didn't explain, but this is probably the meanest parody. It wasn't intended to be mean, obviously, but for all the others, it was like, what if they did something goofily silly, or like a thing they do, but like they do it wrong, and that's what makes it funny. For this one, we literally just did what Aurora Peachy did, what an unnamed content creator did. where they sort of asked players to give them money to buy a legendary.
And cried on
Not
screen.
even to buy the precursor, the legendary. And people gave them the money. That's what was shocking to me.
She cried on
but
screen.
And then she cried on stream about it, which is fine, I guess. Virtual swords are always emotional experiences.
Yes.
I might cut that joke out.
It doesn't matter. It'll be fine.
This is, you can see Gil's great syncing, desync going on here, where they're like running and they're like jerking around. Can't be helped, I'm afraid.
Isn't that a forgotten?
Yeah.
So yeah, this was our solution to the snake problem. They released like a mini. If you sign up for like 2-factor authentication, you get a dragon. I guess it's an advertisement for that. So
Cantha confirmed.
Yeah, Cantha confirmed or not?
See, we actually did meta strats here. Look at the blasted.
Yeah, this was a meta strat at the time.
Dropping the banners
that,
into the thing.
Dropping banners, blast finishes, stack of might.
Phoenix is just
and
dancing.
And now he's helping you.
With this focus only equipped.
Focus on it again. I don't expect anyone to spot that, but it's funny nonetheless.
Leaping! He leaps through the fire for powerful synergy.
He leaps through the fire. See, we're sticking to the build. Yeah. See, we're not making it up. This is a true meta build. We knew it was going to happen when we made this vid. The joke here was that it was an open world boss, and people. I mean, it speaks for itself, the joke. I don't even have to explain it. But that scream was from Bendek from like a really old video. He fell off a thing and screamed, and it was funny, so I cut that audio out. Oh yeah, and everyone forgets. we completely missed the joke about her spending or Charlene spending all their money to donate to Borealis Plumbing, and then they don't show up for the fight again. Maybe people didn't spot that joke, but that was funny to me, at least.
What do you think, Janye?
The 20 gold joke is a reference to the Spirit Killer itself. When we were making the video, we needed a skin for Spirit Killer, and the only way to get it was that sword. And Doom had to spend 20 gold or whatever. It was hard-earned gold when he had like 7,000 at the time. And he complained about it. I can't believe it. So I had to throw the joke in.
I don't like spending money.
Ain't it supposed to call this hard group
The big reveal of John. Yeah.
wiped it out as quickly as any other hard group
Oh my god, this is you could argue this is poor writing because it's basically just explaining the point to the viewers. But then again, it wasn't really my own view of it.
Yeah,
it was more like, here's an alternate view. He did a good job with the voice, but it was supposed to show like an alternate view of the situation. Like all the characters represent a different thing. Like there's the elitist, the sort of normal player, and then there's like the casual player, and then there's the kind of like grumpy player, and he was the grumpy player, I guess. Unironically though, we're all the grumpy player now.
Wait, we should talk about what are you talking about? Like,
oh yeah, what are you talking about? So yeah, the entire basis of Ozman's character came from Griff saying, "What are you talking about?" When I can't remember what it came from. I think we were watching something, and some character or whatever said, "What are you talking about?" And Griff said, "What are you talking about?" in the Ozman voice, and I was like, "That has to be the character right there."
I think he says it like 4 or 5 times throughout this, in like a different way each time.
In a different, and every time he says it, it gets gradually more like annoyed, until this big rant at the end.
Only that it is completed.
I also predicted the gods coming back as well.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot about that. Well, at least one of them. This face is amazing. It goes to show, like, I mean, someone messed up somewhere. I'm not saying anything, but that's not right.
Time matters not to us.
I'm Ozman Wiener Smasher, wielder of the Spirit Killer. When will you give us some actual challenging group content?
When it's ready.
Oh my God, who saw that coming? Oh, the
How
great
did you
stroke
get
of our
that
time.
face, the like smile?
Oh, that was such a like a elaborate way to get that face. So the broom, there is before there were mounts, there were not mounts, which took the form of a broom and a magic carpet, and I think like a sort of Bugs Bunny drill burrow thing.
Oh yeah.
And with the broom, when you ride it, your character has this like goofy smile. It's funny, but it's pretty goofy looking. So we wanted to get like a close up of the character, but unless you do an emote, they don't really emote their face. So we had to like, the only option we had was this broom. So I guess you have one, Doom, because you were riding it or something.
The Halloween like mirror carpet or whatever.
I can't remember what it was then. Maybe it didn't work, but it was something like that, where it was like
like
the carpet, and then I just sort of like I stood behind you to get a close up on your face or whatever. Again, filming Guild Wars 2 and filming Machinima and Guild Wars 2 is one of the hardest group things you can ever do. It's harder than any raid. That is true challenging group content, trying to film Machinima. That's why I did it like one more time after and haven't done it since. Whether I break that tradition is to be seen. So yeah, did we miss anything?
Probably, but you can go back and watch it for yourself and find all the hidden jokes in there.
I guess, yeah. We could, well, we'll see if we remember something. I'll edit something in if we remember something else.
Adidas phosphorus.
Oh yeah. If we remember anything, I'll edit it in here. Yeah, if not, then that's about. Oh, I know. There's a post-credit scene. What am I about?
Yeah.
So we gotta wait. We did this in Spirit Killer 1. No, we didn't. This was a reference to like some ancient machinima we made where we had a post-credit scene and never did anything with it again. But at the same time, it was to sort of hint at a potential for more Spirit Killer. I did plan to make more. I decided it was not worth it. Whether we do something else with it or something in the same vein, again, is to be seen. I like to think, even though it's kind of like, you can argue it's stupid and a waste of time. I mean, it is stupid and a waste of time. But I like to think that all the videos I make are kind of in like the same universe. I got my own cinematic universe going on here. So you have like the mount vids, you have the Spirit Killer, and we did that like Black Lion vid once.
Dime, what are you doing?
Dime, what are you doing? They're all in the same like universe. So maybe you'll see like characters from those videos crossing over at some point.
Well, and we have bounced a few good ideas about potential.
We have
stuff,
some ideas.
It's just the time.
But it's the time commitment, and the filming is pain in the ass, and who cares at the end of the day is the big.
Yeah, I feel like we enjoy watching these more than like anyone
exactly
else.
We enjoy. So the whole point, not the whole point. If we care enough to make it, we'll make it. But at the moment, we're not that bothered. I might cut this bit out,
it's
but
fine, it's fine. People like long form conversation.
I guess. So whether we make anything in the future in the same vein, continuing the I guess the Dalen cinematic universe, maybe is all I'll say. Is all I'll commit
when
to.
It's ready.
When it's ready, I guess. Yeah, I fulfilled the prophecy. When it's ready,